Whoa, it's me, I'm big. Okay. I forgot I set that one up. And that's okay too. All right, good. It's so damn bright. What's happening? The lighting. We'll fix it later. We'll do something else, another stream. But for now, I'm gonna look goofy. That's okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's pull up. It's terrible. I'm too vain to have a weird look on the stream, but I'm gonna force myself. Force myself. Here we go. Okay. Okay, that's more reasonable. There we go. Let's do something else. Let's see here. Make that dark mode, and then what the hell else can I do? Let's see here. I know. Display brightness. Oh, if I just change my background wallpaper, that's probably enough. Wallpaper. Something dark, please. Cool. That's better. Jeez. Better than the one I had. This little bit of wire is going to bug me. So the new CPU's working great. It's working great with work, working great with non-work, and we're going to continue to put it through its paces. I don't normally stream at this hour. This is 6 p.m. This is usually when my brother's streaming. If my brother's watching, I apologize. Go back to doing whatever you were doing. You should be streaming right now. Just don't look at me. But I promised to stream today, and I didn't this morning, and like everything's all fucked up. I mean, I should stop saying that word, but yes. What, and this is the other like deep apologies, but I kind of forgot how I used to do this, so I had to take like 20 minutes to remember because I had been flying by muscle memory and instinct with the coloring process thus far. But it's like literally, to be honest, I hadn't used this process in probably 5 years. That's how long it's been since I needed to do anything that looked like finished colored work. And to this day, even then, no one was paying me for it, at least with any substantial amount. And today, nothing's different, except now I'm showing people how I used to do it. But part of that process was some of the stuff that I remembered doing, at least I thought I remembered, and then I didn't remember whether or not it was a good thing that I did that or a bad thing. But all I can say is, if you remember how this used to look, it was very cartoony. And I think this is different now. This is, it's been, this is what I would call treated. And that's not a term I coined or anything like that. It's just, it essentially means I took cartoony colors and constrained them under more realistic real world conditions. And what happens is that things look a little bit normalized. This almost doesn't look like something that couldn't be real. Now it isn't obviously photoreal or anything like that, especially in the background. You can see a lot of the lines still. But what's clear about this is like a low-key illustration that essentially looks like you turned the lights off and there's light creeping in from like a faraway distant window, or like through the crack of a door, or through tiny holes in the roof or something like that. Very dark, very diffused light. And yet it's with all the same colors that we were using. And so I can pull up, if I turn off these layers, for instance, you'll start, well, here's some realities, is that I went too far on this one, so we'll circle back to it. But I applied a process to this, which wasn't very involved, that I'm going to apply to all of these. And when I do that, we'll be in the state of readiness to start lighting the scene. And lighting the scene will, and treating it like light, how light sort of sculpturally forms and relates to itself and creates illusionistic effect. That will be that's essentially the process. So that'll be interesting. So I skipped ahead a little bit to remind myself how I did this, and seeing how well this turned out, I was like, okay. Not only did I remember it, I actually remembered it pretty well, and I probably improved upon it a way. That's probably because I'm treating this a little bit seriously, with the exception of like tiny little bits and bobs that are sort of bleeding out that you can't even really see on a stream. I think this is in a good spot to keep going with things, so that's great. So now I'm actually in a spot where there's two parts to the process. And I'll pull up an earlier version of this. Maybe that'll help. Let's see here. By way of explaining, the previously saved version of this file was this flat color. I'm just really excited the new CPU is working out so great. Well, I mean, it's not the newest and greatest, but it's newest and greatest for me. What is this? Apple M3 Max, November 2023, 14-inch. Pretty good. MacBook Pro. It's got all this stuff. So we went from this to this without doing too much. I'm going to go into this and turn on some things I had off. Not that one. So I had on... So these are some like occlusion shading layers. You can see that that's like cartoony coloring, right? And then I use sort of a gradient brush to indicate where the light was coming to a stop, where it was becoming a little bit blocked to becoming fully blocked, and sort of indicating like past this point it's totally gone and you're in total shade. I did that for several elements here. Let me just turn everything on and see what happens. Yeah. And depending on like where light is coming from, like anything can be true. You know, you can see that like I'd already sort of started messing around with light before I turned all the lights off. I had started the different kinds of ways that light like the different ways that we're like sensitive to it, right? And it's a lot to do with like how they do it. If you're a 3D artist and you're hearing this, it's like this has a lot to do with like what they do in compositing, for instance. They want you to do like different render passes and like, oh, what's the albedo or whatever, you know, the weird terms that like normal people don't understand, but like I'm trying to think of stuff like that when I'm doing this. So you can sort of see I was thinking about like that and design at the same time. And so this is everything. Here, I'll turn here. There's something I'll do on this one. And then we'll go back to the other image. We'll transfer things and then we'll because there's a step I skipped and I realized it. And that's consolidating all the color layers into a flat color layer file. And the computer right now is just catching up to all the undos I just clicked on, so it's rapidly thinking. Take your time. But anyway, the process, so with every kind of character and background and like prop that was distinctive in these scenes received its own layer, and that layer was colored, but that layer had different sections of color within it. Man, it gets hard to explain this stuff, but what will... Okay, I've undoed everything to its maximum undo. It's easier just to sort of demonstrate by way of turning off all the layers that aren't the flats. Okay. Okay. Okay, you can see I'm turning off layers that aren't just flat color. Okay. And we're getting you're getting an impression by now, hopefully, of what I was talking about. Okay. I believe that's it. That's pretty much everything we can see in this that is colored, so to speak. So this represents like a color flat kind of render. But this is useful. So here, select it, copy merged, we'll paste in place. And then turn everything else back on. It won't matter, we'll probably never come back to that version of the saved file again, but just for the benefit of contrast and education, we'll see that what we saved out looks like this versus that. So this is an important and useful layer and piece of information for us to have. And why that is because when we start painting into Link with light, we're going to lose the flatness. So we can't just go in and select Link's hat without sort of lamenting that now that we've colored the hat and painted light into it, the hat is now in separate pieces, the unlit hat and the lit hat. With this, we'll always have some hat that we can... Let's see, I must... Yeah, just a little bit more tolerance, you can pretty much then just grab any section. So if I wanted to only, let's see, I know exactly what color I wanted to paint Link's skin that was in the light. Now I can select the parts of his skin across the space, and then I can, oop, that's not the that's not the command. All right, let's try it that way. Okay, that's the hide marquee tool. But anyway, then I can paint into it. Do I have my thing? There it is. All right, well, with that selected, and what can I do? Yeah. You know, whatever. Not that I would do it this way, but there you go. You know, all of a sudden I've got the selection that I want. So that's what that is for. All right, undoing takes forever. Learning that. Well, at least I'm not dropping any frames. Let's see here. Okay, so, yep. We will, let's lose the dock. All right, don't respond. There you go. Okay, great. So, this layer we know we need. Let's drag it over here. Okay. I wish I knew a better way to do this other than to match it up pixel by pixel in every corner, but I don't. Yeah, looks good. Looks like I missed a spot. Oof. Oof. All right. That's the color render layer. And you can see like I missed gaps, but any gaps that slipped through the quality control process that we already did are acceptable. Okay. Color flat master is what we'll call that. And that can stay as a hidden layer. We don't have to see that layer in order to use it. Oh, it's too much tolerance. Oh, I guess those are all the same color. Great. So, just like that, we can use the layer selection tool, regardless of what layer we're on, clicking anywhere to paint conveniently without any major fuss. Is that the perfect way to pick, you know, color separated things? I don't know. It's the way that I use. And so that process is part of the process. And so now what we're going to do, and the reason I'm doing this on a Friday when no one's watching, is because it's boring. You don't need to be interrupting your day. You can see this anytime. Go do the fun things that are available to you today. And then whenever you watch this, if you ever watch this, you'll see that this was easy and it doesn't take forever to just sort of get what needs to happen right now. This is what happens, and that's what you do. You get this. Do what you need to do to get that. Get it all in one layer, but do that. And once that's done, lock it off, because you don't want to be coloring on it after the fact. You just want it. That's boring, but that's today. That's what it is. But this is a perfect day for this for me because, oh, this is funny. The one darn layer, the couple layers, I guess, in this whole project that I've decided to get painterly about, like, that can't apply to, it's these ones. Let me think here. Is there anything about that I should do? I don't think so. I'm gonna punish myself by forcing myself to eat crap with those. Oh man, It's funny, as I go back and forth, I keep finding mistakes. It's terrible. Okay. Probably doesn't matter too much. Actually, this is still worthwhile doing. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, that's that. That's that. Let's just do this anyway. With this, I'm essentially going to turn that into a bunch of flat layers. Or one flat layer. I'll pick a color like that. I'll fill it. Now I can turn that off, and guess what's that? That's what that is, but it doesn't look... Huh. Wow, the undo button is the Achilles heel of this process. Okay. I will probably have to... It's okay. That's good. Let's see how that goes. Okay, by selecting outside of this painted layer, inverting it, and then filling it, I've got a decent flat with this, which is what I was searching for. Okay, we need to do the same here. So let's just do that. Oh my gosh, look at all these little ins and outs. Oh, Jesus. Okay, well, this one, we don't get to do that. If we collapse all that, and then select the layer content, turn it off, and then fill. Cave sword flats. Let's see how that goes. So we'll make it a slightly different color. But it shouldn't be darker, it should actually be lighter. There we go. Or something, yeah. We may be getting to the threshold where it makes more sense long term to just separate out all of the files into their own things. But we'll see. Another random skeleton. That's good. Okay, so the moblin lines are off. Lovely. Love to see it. Flats. Looks good. It's a longer process than I thought it'd be. Well, we'll get as far as we can. I'm stuck in undue purgatory hell. Okay. What is that? Ah. Okay, we don't need that layer. Go away. Copy. Paste in place. Color, flat, master. Cool. Got that. Turn everything back on. If we feel like it, we can do whatever we want. Okay. All right. Same process. We just go through the same thing. There are some layers I had done previously to sort of indicate where the design would be, and those are still here. I've got them labeled D for design, just to indicate where I intend to show a gradient of brightness to darkness. So when I turn them on, you can see it gives it some dimensionality, but right now we're still just looking for the color flats. So we go through, turning off all the lines. Okay, by the time we get here, there's like nothing. Okay, that one was comparatively much easier. Save your work. Speed lines. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to delete that layer because it's a good reminder that I'll need it later, but I must admit, it's a little silly. Okay, this has some issues here with the with all the different overlaps that are happening. It's very complicated. We'll see what we can do here. Let's just try select layer content and let's try making a layer for it. Okay, that's not what I meant to do. Select content, then copy. Wait, no. There we go. Lock pixels, then fill it. No, don't lock pixels, then fill it. Okay. Oh, man. Oh, there you are. Heh. Hey, Ben. How you doing, man? This is, after I accosted you to come join the chat, if you've been watching it all, you probably saw that it was a little boring to start, but the process is it's all imperative to the process. Happy Friday. I'm doing a bad thing. I'm on the clock with another client, but I finished early, and I think everybody is already weekend minded. So now I'm just doing this. Can you do me a favor? Do I sound okay? Is the music way too loud? Is my volume way too loud on my voice? Like, let me know if I need to adjust something. I will require... Okay. I've been fine-tuning things. I noticed that, like, in and of itself, the stream seems fine, but then when I'll click into my stream and it's, like, really... Okay, it's all good. It's all good. But I saw, like, when I look at my stream on Twitch, I'm like, okay, sounds good. I click on other people's streams and it's like, the volume is, like, cranked to 11. I'm like, what did I do something wrong? Should I be cranked to 11? I'm just trying to see where the threshold is where it's like, should I back off? Should I increase? You know, just let me know if it gets out of the realm of comfort. What I'm doing right now, because if you're really just tuning in, you missed a bit of education. I can go back for a second, but there's a few steps that are easily sort of overlooked they're kind of important. And the step I'm doing right now is creating a master. Okay, as long as it doesn't sound like I'm getting distorted, for instance, which is not what I want, or the volume is stepping on the words that I'm saying, which is also not what I want, then I'll be happy, and I'll watch it all back eventually. But I just want to make sure it's not like, whoa, that guy sucks, turn him off. Cool. Yeah, it doesn't look like I'm popping in the red, but like, apparently there's a cliff. I don't want to fall off of it, but I don't know where it is. And yeah. So you can see what I'm doing. What I've been doing is like turning off the lines, essentially. I had color frames here, and I was turning off the lines in order to get like flat. These essentially what I'm doing is I'm turning the coloring that I did into flat selection layers, because down the road, once I color into my colors, I can't use those selections as they are as selections unless I separate them out, which is what I'm doing in this step. So it's kind of tricky, but it'll make sense like more in the later stream, especially when I'm doing it. But it's not super obvious why that's important at this step. It just you just gotta trust me. So we're basically removing the lines, removing any shading, so that all we have is like color design. Ooh, there's some lines here. Let's see what I missed. There we go. Okay. So then I select, and because that's all I'm doing, like I'm not really making sort of amazing decisions right now, like there's no judgment if you feel like, oh cool, got it, you know, check you later. But I got to do it. I'm doing it all on stream, so that's what I'm doing right now. But if you can spare a second, let's see here. Color flat master. That's for this one. Turn everything back on. Hang tight. Work on some stuff, yeah. I thought you would be good for the key art stuff, just to be honest, because I know you've been very steeped in those fundamentals, and I think that's really the only prerequisite, I think, for that kind of work. Just like composition and some whatever kind of speedy rendering you can get together. So here you can see the difference. And then in here. And then in here, this will be interesting. So Ben, check this out. Whereas these other colors I left in the original brightness. So here you can see everything's in its original brightness as I colored it. But in this one, I skipped ahead a step, which I wouldn't normally do, but I wanted to do it for the sake of sort of teasing the step that comes after all these color master flats that I've been discussing. What happens is after I separate out the kind of master step is, or the master flats is, I turn, well, there's a couple things that can happen. They can happen in like separate orders. So maybe what I'll do next is I'll do this, the occlusion layer. And the occlusion layer, I guess it's easier seen on Link. Let's see here. What I did was I took the color layers and I used the levels tool in Photoshop to basically compress the color towards black, but kept, so all those color relationships between the colors that are in that layer stay the same. It just compresses them towards black so that there's just excluding more and more white as any sort of possibility. Essentially it darkens it, but what it really has the effect of doing is sort of dimming the light and dimming it towards total darkness. That, in conjunction with designing an occlusion layer, which is what I did here. Oop, not there. Here. The occlusion layer is something that shows on a variance from like light to dark. It's like it provides a gradient that sort of determines like where is light accepted and where is it blocked. And that occlusion layer looks like this, if you're paying attention. Oops, that's wrong layer. Here it is. If I got this right. Okay, that's kind of it. That's not exact. Sort of doing the wrong thing, but the when I do it the right way, here, what does that do? Well, anyway, why is it doing that? Well. It's not like that's bad, but it, okay. You can just sort of see that, like, by deciding where light is and where light isn't, and then playing around with the, like, the layer compositing, you can get lighting effects that's, essentially what I'm trying to do is I'm going to get all of these images to a place where it looks like the lights are turned off. Now, it's not like there's no light. That isn't really helpful because then everything would go to black and then we have no color relationships to work with. What I'm really trying to do is get it to where the light relationships are minimal but still measurable. And then what you can do is well, that'll come into a later thing. But that's the point, is to get it to a. I'm gonna try and get all these to a state where it looks like this, where it looks like there's like light that might be poking in from a window on a faraway wall, and that's it. So it's not total darkness, it's just minimal darkness. And then what do? It'll be impressive after that, but at this point it just sort of looks like, okay, Max, you've turned off the lights, and that's your coloring method. That's wonderful. But there will be more to come. There will be more. Are you working on anything cool? Never-ending animatic. The never-ending animatic. Na 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 na. Is that from a class that you might be taking? Perhaps, perchance? I've heard about this crazy class. That sounds like fun. I want to take a class. It sounds like fun. Can I show you something cool I did? Alright, that's it. That's all I'm willing to show. That's all I'm willing to show. You saw nothing. This whole section will be redacted. It'll be redacted. There's nothing to show here. There's nothing to show. It's not a big team. It's for the advertising arm of a certain property that may or may not have a video game coming out. That's it. But the game development arm of that team isn't the same thing as the advertising arm, and they're all too busy to think about it too much. So, but you know, all that is fundamentals. Just make it look fucking insanely good. Ultimately. How many days are you on it? This is my last day, actually. Monday, the company has me booked on a different job, which will not be cool. It will be the opposite of cool. It will be on a job that, because I've been on that job before, it will be a job for a company that is known to be controversial. But I was on what I showed you for 5 days. So that's and I showed you like a sliver of what I did, just enough to be interesting. When you're done with your animatic, I want to see it. There was a quote today that we've all heard many times, that alright, it's good, like persistence is good. One thing that had been dogging me a little bit about like the whole streaming thing was the like I want to get it right, I want to get it right, I want to get it right, and I'd have anxiety about that. But I was watching another streamer whom I watch, and he was saying that because persistence is so important, you can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And so he definitely was very good at, and I'd come to this own conclusion myself, but definitely it's like, it doesn't matter if it's not the perfect time to work on the project, just do it a little bit or whatever, so you're doing a good job. And that's like kind of what I'm doing here. It's like, this isn't the perfect time for me to be doing this, but I'll do it anyway, and I'll learn. Instead of learning a lot, I'll learn a little, but every little bit helps, Just to advance the ball. I got my wife calling me. Always gonna be things that distract. 1%. Oh, Atomic Habits, the 1% rule? No, tell me about that. Or type me about that. I don't read like I should. Kind of like how there's a melting point for things. Very hard to see progress until additive effects culminate into something substantial. Oh. Yeah, I agree. were some things I used to do in my 20s that I was... and I don't know if like I can recommend this other than like I did it and you know maybe it was good, but like I used to when I was in my 20s it's actually kind of remarkable to reflect on it. Of course, my needs and my bills were like nothing. I had like a cell phone bill and like half a small studio apartment's utilities and rent to split with a girlfriend at the time. But I was making like a self-sustaining living as an artist by the time I was 22 or 23, and granted, it was like, you know, I'm not even sure if I was like paying taxes at the time, but it was like I was making, you know, little bits of money on a regular enough basis to pay my bills, and all of it was online, digital, working from home, and very much like faking it till you're making it kind of style. But I used to, but I was still pretty driven to get practice in on things that felt non-digital because I knew they would help translate to digital skills. And one of the things I used to do was I'm left-handed. I'm a lefty with my drawing, but I would take my right hand and I would force myself to draw with my right hand things that I knew it's like there was a drawing book by Bern Hogarth that was just great practice, and so I drew the whole thing cover to cover as just studies, mindless. And bear in mind, the whole time I was like stoned and whatever, watching Judge Judy, literally stoned and watching Judge Judy from 10 a.m. until midnight every day when I wasn't working on like random Craigslist jobs for art. But when I had the downtime, I would just copy from these books, anything that interests me artistically. I would just do, and not pencil. I would use ballpoint pen, and I would copy, or even like, you know, not even like a big pen. I'd get into like a Uniball or whatever, something that's like really permanent and dark, you know. And I would copy the whole thing until I was like, damn, I'm good. I'm really good at copying, you know, shit that I can see from a book. And then I'm like, well, how am I going to challenge myself now? I'm like, I'll do the same thing, but I'll do it with my right hand. And I got used to it. And then I would do like actually really good sketches with my right hand with some decent speed. And then I was like, well, I wonder if I can write with my right hand. And I would write with my right hand, eventually, like backwards, like Leonardo da Vinci would. I was like, this isn't actually that hard once you chip away at it. Like the first time you do it, you're like, this is crazy. What am I doing? But, you know, you force your mind to think with those like mirror neurons. And it really helped to just sort of step outside your comfort zone with that stuff. And I'm convinced it paid dividends down the road, although it's not a scientific study. I couldn't possibly quantify exactly what went down in my mind, but I think it was good. Did your right hand practice improve your left hand drawing? Yes, it did. Because let me tell you, when you are focused enough to draw well, like to copy well with your non-dominant hand, then you go back to your dominant hand and it is like, woo! It's like you didn't know you had the ball and chain attached to your mind the entire time until you were so focused on it. You like trained yourself into like a deeper level of focus. And then when you're in that focus, you get into your actual hand. You're like, holy moly. It's like, it was like drawing on easy mode, you know? So it was kind of, it's like those analogies, like you're like doing like whatever suppressed breathing techniques at altitude or something, or weight training, or all those things. Think about it. But also, because I'm convinced this is also key, is think about it, but when you do it, don't think about it. Like, literally what I would do was, this sounds so cringe, but like literally what I would do is like we'd be watching like Law and Order at the end of the day, and I'd be hearing the dialogue of the show, like whatever, Stabler, Elliot Stabler, the hard-boiled sex crimes detective or whatever, and he's like being intense. He's doing this monologue. I'm hearing the monologue and I'm transcribing it backwards, writing across the opposite way of the page with my non-dominant hand, just trying to keep up with the words. And it wasn't about being perfect. If it was just like mostly a scribble that got there, then good. But yeah, when you do that and then you flip over to your actual hand, it's like, wow, it's like easy mode. So just something to think about, you know, a fun, because I think it's like there's too much like do this, and I don't like the people that I would see, and this doesn't apply to you because I've seen, I think you have a really natural talent for it. So that this isn't, what I'm about to say doesn't apply to you. But I would be at places, I would say this applies to you, is I think you're spending too much time like in the prep way. You should read some Confucius, because he would be like, study, study, study. But then when you're done studying, like, get the fuck out there, you know, kind of thing. Right? But the people who I would see who like weren't really progressing the way they had all the drive, but they wouldn't progress at art school. They were so like, they just thought it was something you could force out, and it really is about letting go. Yeah, I agree. There's nothing out there right now. It really is really bad. And what is out there isn't worth grabbing. And frankly, it's like what I see. I'm like, give me that. Like it's like I'm catching up to like deficits that have been like, I didn't work at all last week, and like I'm feeling it. I'm really feeling it. So the fact that I got booked this week is like super important to me. It was like I'm struggling. Turn off all these lines. See, this one was easy. This one was so easy. There you go. Have you ever like looked at any Confucius and stuff like that? Confucius was like really struggling in his own time as someone who was like, I know I'm really great, but goddamn, like I gotta. Yeah, he was like really. He was sort of like. He came up at a time when the whole country was just in chaos, and so he was sort of a refuge for like traditional ideas, but sort of like a little bit distilled down so that they could be resilient. And then he lived long enough for his students to go on and do well, even when he had all he wanted to do was like have a good effect on the government. But he was plagued by like bad luck, and so his students actually fared better than he did, using the same, well, not the same, but with him as their sort of master, they went on to do better because they were able to sort of rise up in a system that rised up with him, whereas he was sort of aged out at that point. Right, yeah, no, well, that's what I think he did the right thing by sort of understanding that he's like, okay, I can't do it myself at this point. That he recognized that it was like, if I'm going to be true to the things I believe, then at this point, it really has to be, it's like, I'm going to have to be a teacher, and therefore I will be teaching, and here I go. So, and he was in, I think, good demand as a teacher, but it's tricky. It's tricky to you wonder what would have happened. He could have been the king of China. Not really, but what if, Right, yeah. Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you on that. There were always weird dips, though. It really feels like it was super, like, right now is super inopportune, but that's like with the obviously the AI stuff doesn't help. But listen, they are still, I'm still getting hired on jobs. There are still, at least with advertising, there are still opportunities out there, and I don't think AI is necessarily the biggest issue right now. The biggest issue. Oh, hey, Leica. Meowdy. I'm early for you, I think. Ben, Leica usually joins me at like 4 a.m. Or at least much later than this. So. Leica, what I'm doing is I'm prepping some of these layers with... I feel like like a lot is being sort of held back, like in a sort of, what would it be? What would you call it? There's like a socioeconomic dam being projected, holding up some areas and keeping back some things, and part of that is good, like a dam. Parts of it are good, parts of it are bad. If you want things on one side of the dam to stay where they are, that's great. If you want the dam to be flowing where you are and it can't because of the dam, then it's bad. And I feel like, as you were suspecting, yes, there's anxiety about politics, and that doesn't help. There's a lot of like assumptions being made about things, and I think that's because people are not idiots, and they understand that politics or anxiety about politics affects things down the road. And that's a reality. That affects a lot of things. That affects the economy. It affects interest rates. Interest rates affect financing. Financing affects speculative projects that get greenlit. It's about as simple as that, really. Okay, we are getting in the home stretch. Getting in there. I'm going to save this a little bit. Like, I'm not sure if you're quite monitoring, but the coloring process I'm trying to get to is to like the next major milestone is where I can render things out to look like this a little bit, where the lights are dimmed and it feels like like we have a realistic effect of dim lighting in each scene, where all the lights are turned off but we can still see some color relationships, and where the light is blocked. So we're working towards that, but the first step to getting there is to sort of turn off all the lines and get a flat layer that encompasses all the color decisions that are being made. And some layers are much easier than others. Shadows seem like one of the most complicated parts of art, intuitively at least. Kind of. I think so. I don't know. I think that's the assumption, and thus people... What essentially the reason why I get it to the point of dimness is because that allows me to focus on taking shadows out of the equation. Once everything is in shadow, it becomes much simpler. What you do then is you add light. Once everything is already in the shadow, then you add light. And then, since light is an additive process, it's kind of just the mathematical equation of like, oh, how do I render this sketch? And it's like x plus y divided by x, divided by z divided by 32. Once you're doing all this and multiplying and whatever, just subtract it all to like 0.001. That's what this is. That's what the point of getting it to this is. Get it all subtracted to like 0.001. So there's some light. You can see some color, but everything is basically in shadow. Then you add the light. And light, the way the math works is it's additive. Light on top of light is just light. It's like the light plus the light. And you add opposite lights to each other, and they cancel each other out. It just gets brighter. All light on top of light just gets brighter. Light plus light plus light is light plus light plus light. It's actually a really simple equation from that point on. So that and then once you've done that, then it's just a matter of cranking for the exposure, like treating it like a photographic process. Like, okay, where do I want? Like, do I want to blow out the whites, or do I want to compress the shadows at that point? But the relationships will be there, and it will make sense. I'm glad you feel like that makes sense. But I think you have a sense that yes, that's exactly what will happen. It will make sense, and you'll be able to see it down the road. And I wouldn't do this if I didn't know it didn't work. It absolutely works. It's just I was telling Ben, or at least I was talking at the beginning of the stream, I haven't done this in 5 years. So a lot of this process was I was doing it a little bit with just sort of like intuition and muscle memory from something I had done regularly a long time ago. But to this day, I'm still not really paid or hired for my color work, but I'm, maybe this will change that. Maybe I can get some samples that I can show. That'll be worthwhile. But there are parts to it that are not necessarily exciting and sexy, like this, where I'm turning off lines so I can get the color lines or whatever, the color layers all separated. But I think it makes sense to do this on a Friday when people are busy with social stuff anyway. If people really want to, they can go back and watch. Here we go. This one. We got 2 more to go. Ooh. Oh, I hit too many undos. This will be silly. All right, well. Just wait for my CPU to catch up. Okay, what did I just do? Unrelated. I'm working on the music for podcasts. I've done 6 drafts and none of them are hitting the mark. I'm getting mad imposter syndrome. I'm not laughing. I'm just relating to the reality. No, it is unrelated but related. I actually have a lot of discussions with a musician friend of mine, George. I'll have him on my stream eventually because he's a handsome fellow. He's very charming. He does good. He's just sort of like entertaining the way you want somebody to be on a stream, and I think he would be a good guest. But like he's a musical genius, and I think he would relate a lot. What happened to that statue head? There we go. Okay, that looks decent for now. Turn that on. Okay. What? How much did I undo here? That's crazy. We have a new person in chat. Skylines. Feeling creatively blocked and the imposter syndrome knock-on effect sucks. Been there before. Skylines, are you an artist / musician or a creative person? Welcome to the chat. Come on in, bro.
What's up, streamers?
What's up? My bro's here to rizz you up.
Yeah.
Yeah. My streamy bro.
What's
Getting
up,
all stream-
Skylines?
Getting all streamy. Yeah. Are you in the you should get in my stream.
I'm streaming right now.
You're streaming right now. I guess
Yeah.
now you are. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
literally right here streaming with me.
You can see in the drop frames we had a little bit of a conflict, but it's okay now.
Holy shit. What the
Yeah.
fuck happened? Oh, it's me and you.
Yeah,
Oh, because we're streaming at the same time.
but it's holding fine now. It was just something that had happened earlier.
My stream is like one static picture.
I know.
It's
So
your
it should-
crazy
it-
stream being all crazy.
You know what?
No. I'm stepping on your toes. I shouldn't be doing this right now. I'm so sorry. Well, what should I do? Should I stop?
No, keep going. It was literally like
I'm making progress. I need
this
like another
literally-
10 minutes.
This literally happened like 15 minutes ago. Don't worry about it. I'm
It
just
makes me sad because I
no,
shouldn't
no,
be
no,
doing it.
no.
Yeah.
It's not anything. It's just literally.
We're all
an adjustment.
talking-
It was probably every single one of our parents at the same time.
All right,
Also
yeah,
being
yeah.
on stuff.
Okay,
So,
yeah, Dad's
we're
watching.
good.
Dad's watching anime.
Yeah.
Mom's like streaming Alex Jones or something.
Oh god. I cannot handle it. I cannot handle it.
I think it's your plaid outfit is
Oh yeah.
is it's
Too much
totally
noise.
yeah too much noise. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh boy, are we brothers or what? Holy moly! All right, give me like 15 minutes.
You take your time.
All right, I'll take my time. You'll regret saying that. All right, turn off this. There you have it. There you have it. That's the fam. Turn off all the D. Turn off that D. Turn off that D. And turn off that D. Okay, there we go. Let's see, what does it say here? Yeah, like consciously I'm aware that I'm good at this, but sometimes just nothing is hitting and it's rough regardless. Hey, I do UI design for web applications. Shh, don't blow up my cover. Well, I love it. I want to apologize for any dropped frames that have been happening. It's due to my little brother thinking he can stream over my birthright internet connection. No, it's me stepping on his toes, if anything. The right now, just due to logistics, it made sense for me to take my kids over to my parents' house so that they could watch them while other things were happening at my house. And so I'm stepping on his streaming time. My brother streams too. Everybody go check out Boxer419. He's a great game streamer. And my brother. My IRL brother. Alright, let's see here. 09. Color master flat. Color flat master, that's what it is. Skylines, it's cool to see you, a new person in the chat. I don't know if you're into Zelda or concept art or storyboarding, but if you are, that's kind of my, this is a convergence. So this is one of those things where he has been streaming for years, and like I was like, I could give that a shot while the entertainment industry explodes. Maybe I could give a shot at streaming. So and he was very encouraging. So it was not very younger brother of him to be so generous in turning on an older brother to his own personal interests. So we can all return the favor. But Boxer is to be thanked for his many contributions. This stream would not be existing, I don't think, without his encouragement. He was like, because I remember he was like, okay, you got to set up a Twitch stream. He's like, do you have a Twitch account? And I was like, I don't think so. So he's like, okay, let's set you up one. And then so we set up a Twitch stream, and he's like, wait, you do have a Twitch stream. This is your account. And I'm like, I guess I did try to set this up, like, and I guess I did try to set it up like 8 years ago or whatever. when that would have been a good time. But of course, my hardware couldn't handle it. At any point, like, I had tried to do it, failed, and forgotten about it. And then he came along, did great at it, and then encouraged me, and then helped me set it up. So, yeah, you never know who's going to be your bestie. Okay, we're on the final. It is awesome. It's awesome that he was able to do that. Let's see, that's 11. Color flat master. This is a quote unquote boring stream, but the here, Skylines, have you not seen anything I've done? I mean, this is kind of a cool image, right? Boxer's old buddy. Oh. Like, huh. Are you the Mike that lived up the street? I don't want to dox anybody, but but yeah. All right, I remember you. Of course I do. How's it been? I haven't. It's very nice of you to check in. Well, this is you might have remembered I was an artist back when I was a high schooler, and I kept it up. Let's see here. He's told me a little bit about what you're up to these days. I think it's all great. As far as what I know, but all right, Ben, I'll catch you later. Like is gonna heat up some tomato stew. Is gonna be my guess. That's their favorite dish, is things to do with tomatoes. Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah. The Zelda stuff is. I remember you were. I mean, do I remember? I think I remember you being pretty good at video games, but then again, my memory of those days is not extensively accurate necessarily. Lithuanian honey cake. I'm trying to learn Polish, so I wrote the Polish name of the cookbook to drill it into my head. There you go. That's good practice. Lithuanian pride. Halo Genie. It doesn't say you're Halo. It doesn't say you're a new chatter, but I don't reckon. I'm frequently inebriated on this stream, which I apologize for. But welcome back. Apparently, how are you this evening? Everybody here who's a friend of Boxer's, I apologize for. I'm stepping on his streaming time, and it's messing up the frames. We're all getting dropped frames because of it. I'm gonna finish up this one, and then I'm done. I'm gonna cut it out. So. I might ignore the chat just for a few moments while I try to push this out. But what I'm trying to do is reduce or eliminate all of the line art lines and remain only the color. We're all internet strangers. is links lines? There it is. Okay. All right. Home stretch. Almost done. Okay. Good. 12. Color, flat, master. Okay. This was the goal for today. Was get all this looking flat. If anybody's still paying attention, what I'm going to try and do over the next couple streams is to take all of these and get them to a rendering that looks like this, where all the lights are basically turned down to as dim as they can be, where except for there's enough light where we can still see color relationships and some of the design, so that we have something to work with as opposed to nothing. And that is the next step. So we have these flat colors, those are separated out. It's going to be pivotal for down the road when we're actually coloring. This was a super boring stream. It was a very technical stream. Lots of dropped frames, getting worse by the second. You return with cake. Eat the cake. Take a big bite right now. Take a big bite for me. Eat it. Tell me it's delicious. This is it for now. I'm going to call it a stream. I must cede the limited interconnection to my brother. He will continue. Everybody go over to... Ooh, maybe we can just raid box. How do I raid somebody? Oh, good. I'm glad. How do I do raid? Raid and then Boxer 419. Does that work? Is that... No, that doesn't work. Slash raid. Raid and then Boxer. How do I do this? It's raid username. Yeah, but now I'm like, well, what is his username? Is it 419 or is it 4 space 19? Yeah, underscore 419. Raid Boxer underscore 419. Try this. All right. Hey, cool. Ready to raid. Raid now. All right, we're raiding. Party of 4. Lol. Hand off to my broski. There you go. All right, Leica. Broski. It's Lithuanian for me bro. All right, cool. All right, I'm stopping. Love everybody, and check you out later. I did it. Haha. I did it. Love you, bro. All right, I'm stopping. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.